So this is going to be the first test that we're doing for commentary for Barbados Yu-Gi-Oh! And this is for the events that Mal is hosting. It's going to be Ted versus Danny, so Salads versus PK. This is PK DPE because this is last format when we had the last features. And Ted is going first. I'm going to probably do most of this on 2 times speed, and then maybe certain parts in the future will have to be sped up more or less. And also, I may put in, I'll try to put in the actual audio for when people are talking because that may matter. But for this test run, we just want to see what it looks like at a super basic level. Anyhow, so to the game, Ted starts with 4 Mud Skipper. So playing Salads, this is like one of the generic starters that can treat itself as Balinks so that you can go into Balinks. And then it adds, I think it's a level 5 or higher Cybers from deck, which is Parallel Exceed. But he already has one in his hand, by the looks of it, because he links into Balinks, activates Parallel Exceed in hand, and special summons to the link zone Balinks points to. And Balinks is also going to be adding the field spell. So I think Danny here might be complaining about Chain Links not being declared properly, but everything's fine. And the Parallel Exceed was just someone gets to summon another one from deck. So he's now gone through all of his Parallel Exceeds, which is fine. And they're both level 4 now. And usually what you would do, or usually what Ted does, is he just sits on Baguska, like goes defense position Baguska, and then he has some hand traps or some traps to back it up. So let's see if he goes for anything more than that. I kind of doubt it. That's like the standard. Yeah. Yeah, so defense position Baguska, if he has extenders, he may be able to go like Sunlight Wolf and get a search off for a trap or something, and he actually does have Spinny in hand. So he special summons Spinny and goes into Sunlight Wolf. Spinny is banished because if it leaves the field after being special summoned by its own effect, I believe that it is banished. And then Ted sets a card, relinks Sunlight Wolf because that's what the field spell allows you to do without using any other materials. And it's Danny's turn now. So Ted shotguns Lancia, I guess on draw or standby. And if you're playing PK, Lancia is going to turn off basically your entire engine. So even if you have a pretty good hand, you can't end super well if you get Lancia shotgunned. Anyhow, he has 2 extenders, Junk Speeder and Kagemucha Knight, which is not actual engine, but still they're extenders. Goes into Cherubini, which is one of the standard things that you start off in this kind of PK deck, because you get to dump something and have your engine rolling, which I don't know if it actually matters if you got Lanciad, because you can't actually banish the stuff you sent to grave. But regardless, Ted just pops it with Rage. I believe that trap is called Salamangreat Rage. So so Danny sets 3 with 1 card in hand, which makes it look like his hand wasn't that good to begin with anyhow. Yeah. Anyhow, Ted has to detach from Baguska because of standby phase. So Baguska is still in effect, but Danny doesn't have any monsters, so it doesn't matter right now. Looks like Ted goes Sunlight Wolf effect. It gets Chaliced, which is a perfectly fine trade, to be honest, because that's not even like a true 1-for-1. In terms of card economy, the Chalice goes to grave, and you keep Sunlight Wolf on the field. So it's just like the player with the worst card advantage right now is stopping the player who's more ahead from getting even further ahead. But like you're still losing on card advantage. So, and because I didn't see Ted's hand, I'm not sure what he's thinking right now. Normally, what you do if you have any kind of engine is you just make a very standard update jammer into access code play, which is good not just because it's an easy ODK and very simple, but it also allows you to pop the opponent's cards with access code before you leave main phase, so you can like reevaluate your position before entering battle phase or see if they have something to stop the access code. So let's see if Ted goes into that. I'd imagine if you're playing against PK, they probably have a Fogblade set. Also, he's on Chalice, and you don't play 1 Chalice if you're playing Chalice. So you may have like Fogblade or another Chalice or something like that, which are all things that would stop the access code OTK or the update jammer OTK potentially. So he is, I believe he's using Will of the Salamangreat. I think that's what the continue spell is called to resummon Sunlight Wolf. So he definitely has enough material to link climb here and go into access code, but I guess he's just maybe thinking about how exactly he wants to do it. He's also like he's still in a pretty good position because even if the access code play gets stopped, Danny has no engine and you can keep Baguska in defense position, and Baguska is a crazy floodgate against everything besides links. What's he going? So he goes for transcode talker, which is one of the things that allows you to link climb by special summoning something back from the grave, which looks like that's going to be the Sunlight Wolf he just used to go into it. It also stops everything that's co-linked from being targeted. So he's going to keep it on field so that the access code cannot be targeted by like a fog blade or a chalice. So instead of going for a greedier update jammer play, he goes for a safer play with access code, but he also turns Baguska to attack position, which I think is probably not correct because like if Danny has 2 set cards, you're not going to ODK him this turn. I feel like you just leave it in defense so that on Danny's turn his monsters are turned off. But anyhow, Danny does have E-Telly to summon something to block the access code attack on attack declaration to make sure that it is the highest attack monster that he's stopping. But that is still horrible because he still has seen no engine, and it's not even like a fog blade where it's going to continuously keep the access code there. And then Ted just goes into Zeus because he attacked with Baguska, which Danny is still in like a horrible position. I guess that he's just drawn another E-Telly. So again, not actual engine, just more extenders. The only thing on Ted's field that actually interacts is the Zeus, and he only has 1 send. But considering that Danny has no engine, you probably just lose to a single Zeus anyhow. Although, if you don't die this turn to a Zeus wipe, then Ted will send, like, basically lose all of his card advantage as well. Which is kind of why I thought it might have been a better idea to keep Baguska in defense position, but I mean, the PK deck does play links, so it's not like there's no way to play around a defense position Baguska. So Danny goes into Break Sword because he's special Nyan Nyan from the grave when Psychic Wielder was special summoned because Nyan Nyan allows you to do that. And I guess he's trying to force the Zeus because if you do Zeus here, you lose all of your advantage. You lose a link 4, a link 3, a card that specials from grave or hand, I think. So I think he is targeting to pop itself and Zeus, and he's definitely baiting the Zeus wipe, but Ted doesn't do it. And so Danny scoops. Yeah, I think he was only playing out to see if Ted made the mistake of wiping his own board and then seeing if he could win. So into game 2 now. Danny is gonna go first. That definitely is a Celestial in his hand. It looks like Celestial, Stained Greaves, Destiny Fusion, or Fusion Destiny, which Ted has the Ash for. And if you start a turn with Fusion Destiny, it means that your hand is garbage because it turns you off special summoning for the rest of the turn. And even if he had resolved it, he still would be using Celestial from hand, so it's pretty poor card economy there. But getting that Ashed is horrible because then Ted just summons Gazelle, which is obviously one of the main starters for Salads. And like a set card, 1 card set doesn't actually do anything. So if Danny doesn't have hand traps, then this will likely be the okay, I was about to say the super standard update jammer access code ODK, but Ted has set 3 cards, so he maybe does not have engine. And if Danny was going first, he has likely sided out, or he may have sided out some hand traps, but he did have an Ash to Ash the Gazelle after it went to grave from leaking into Balinks, I think. I think that's what happened there. I think Danny used his Ash because that's in the grave. So Ted passes, it's Danny's turn. He summons Nyan Nyan and Stained Greaves. Stained Greaves is like the worst one. That's not really like true PK engine. But Ted is going to rage and pop the Nyan Nyan. It looks like neither of them open particularly well, but I'm pretty sure Danny... Wait, how does Nyan Nyan special summon there? I think that may have been a mistake. You can only special summon Yayan from the grave if a level 3 monster is normal or special summoned, and Stain Greaves was already on the field. But are they checking to see? Okay, it looks like neither player is catching that. So he's just gonna make Breaksword. And how Yu-Gi-Oh works is if you make like a misplay or something like that, it's equally the other person's responsibility to call it out. But anyhow, he just goes into Breaksword, and then yeah, his back row gets Cosmic, which I cannot see from where it is right here. But it looks like they both have only a couple cards. Ted has like maybe 2 cards. Is that like 2 or 3? I think it might be 2 cards in hand, which is still enough to do like an access code ODK depending on what they are. But he does have Will to special summon Gazelle again, which should be able to get his engine rolling because that is the starter. Against just like an attack position, Breaksword, which doesn't actually threaten anything. There's not an interruption. And then he has Spinny, so he can just special summon. I think what he's doing is special summoning Spinny from the grave to go into. What is he trying to go into? Okay, so he has Buffer Low. So he actually does have everything to link climb into access code. Spinny, yeah, that gets banished. He goes into update Jammer, and I guess you probably just go yeah. So he goes Transcode Talker, effect, special summon the update Jammer back, link those into access code, which can attack twice. It also gains 3,000 attacks, just at 53. He's going to pop Breaksword, and I think, yeah, he pops Breaksword, and Danny just scoops. So he reveals he had Celestial in hand, he had Fusion Destiny, Ash, St. Greaves. That hand is garbage. Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty garbage hand. There's not really much that you can do with that. And then I think he's showing what he sided in. So he sided in anti-spells but didn't draw them. And he also had the Wings trap. So that's going to be the first match. It was a 2-0, but not the best gameplay because both players have to draw reasonably to actually see some decent gameplay. So